Think you know muscle cars? What if I told you some of the coolest, most powerful beasts ever built are the ones you've never even heard of? Imagine a car that could outrun a Corvette but flew under the radar, or a turbocharged monster that once dominated the streets but is now almost forgotten. Stick around, because today we're diving into the 12 coolest muscle cars you never knew existed. And trust me, some of these might just blow your mind. Number 12, the 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2. This machine came at a time when American cars were moving away from flashy designs like chrome and tail fins toward a sportier, more balanced approach with better handling and power. By the mid-1960s, everyone was offering bucket seats, center consoles, and floor shifters, but Pontiac took things to another level with the Catalina 2+2. In 1964, the 2+2 package was first introduced as an option for the Catalina. For $291, you could upgrade to a powerful 389 V8 engine, producing 267 to 283 horsepower, along with sporty features like bucket seats, a center console, and special exterior badges. Despite these exciting additions, it was a bit of a test run, and only about 7,998 were sold that year. But in 1965, things got even more exciting when Pontiac made the massive 421 V8 engine standard in the 2+2. The package now included a 3-speed Hurst shifter, upgraded shocks and springs, a performance axle, and other cool details like fender louvers and chrome engine parts. This raised the price to around $419 for the hardtop or $397 for the convertible. If you wanted to go all out, you could add extras like a 4-speed transmission and a custom gauge cluster, which brought the total price to about $4,000. This car came with the optional tri-power 421 high-output engine and was a monster, capable of cruising at 95 miles per hour in a quarter-mile run. The car was a noted one between 1964 and 1967 for its powerful acceleration and magnificent handling that ensured it was one of the leading fleet of the day. Number 11, the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. The Charger Daytona model, produced in 1969, is one of the most recognizable muscle cars in existence. Just 505 units were produced, that renders the car a hot collector's piece in view of the present date. Incorporated in both road and NASCAR car design, the Daytona was developed to assist Dodge to contend for high-velocity races, especially the Daytona 500 races. Back in 1969, it cost $3,860. This car came with 2 engine options. There were 2 models, the mighty 425 horsepower 426 Hemi and the 440 Magnum with 375 horsepower. In racetrack, the tuned version of the Daytona was capable of reaching a speed above 200 miles per hour, making it one among the most fastest cars of that time. In fact, it held the record for becoming the first NASCAR car to exceed 200 miles per hour, a record set by Buddy Baker in 1970. Called one of the winged warriors because of its rear wing and innovative body kit, the Daytona was not only fast but also looked different, at least for the standards of its time. It's been considered, together with such fabulous beasts as the Plymouth Superbird and the Ford Torino Talladega, as one of the most aero race-oriented cars of the period. While it wasn't as effective a racing car as some of its competitors, such as the Plymouth Superbird, the Daytona did not go unnoticed. NASCAR eventually changed its rules, effectively banning these ultra-fast aero cars from competing, which added to the Daytona's legend. It's a piece of automotive history that continues to fascinate car enthusiasts today. Number 10, the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. This car was built to take on the Moper Hemi engine in NASCAR. Ford needed to create a special engine, the Boss 429 V8, and produce at least 500 units to meet racing requirements. What made the '69 Boss 429 so special was that it combined raw power with the Mustang's sleek fastback design, making it one of the most desirable Mustangs ever. Ford designed the 429 engine specifically for NASCAR's Grand National Division. It was based on their big block V8, but with changes to make it race-ready, like shorter stroke and massive exhaust ports, earning it the nickname Shotgun Engine. While it was officially rated at 300 to 75 horsepower, with a few tweaks, it could easily push out 500 horsepower, and with serious modifications, even 600 horsepower was achievable. Fitting the massive engine into the Mustang body was no small task, so Ford brought in Carcraft to modify the front end. They widened the shock towers, changed the inner fenders, and even made space for a smaller brake booster. Air conditioning wasn't offered, but the car came with plenty of racing features like a manual hood scoop, front spoiler, power disc brakes, and a trunk-mounted battery. The Boss 429 wasn't cheap, adding nearly $2,000 to the base Mustang price of $2,740. Despite the cost, it came with options like a rear spoiler, power steering, and a radio. Produced for just 2 years, the '69 Boss 429 was available in classic colors like Raven Black and Candy Apple Red, while the 1970 version introduced bold new shades like Grabber Blue and Grabber Orange. With its short production run and incredible performance, the Boss 429 remains a legend among muscle cars. Number 9, the 1969 COPO Camaro. This is one of the rarest and most powerful first-generation Camaros, not only because of the added options, but because of a dealer ordering trick that called for extras that Chevrolet did not offer. While most folks discuss the SS or Z28 options when it comes to performance Camaros, the COPO or Central Office Production Order Program was different as it let certain dealers order bigger engines not on the regular Camaro order list. Usually the largest engine that could be placed in a Camaro was the 396 Big Block, but with COPO, one could order the L72 427. This massive engine was packed with performance features like forged pistons, rectangular port cylinder heads, and a powerful 11:1 compression ratio. All of that translated to 425 horsepower and 460 pound-per-feet of torque for the L72 and a lot of drag racing capability for the COPO Camaro. The price for this upgrade? Just $489. Berger Chevrolet, a dealership in Grand Rapids, Michigan, was one of the few to take full advantage of the COPO system. They offered customers the COPO 9562 package, which got them the L72 engine, but some also went for the COPO 9737 sports car conversion package. This additional package improved handling with features like heavy-duty springs, power front disc brakes, larger sway bars, and rally wheels, making it a well-rounded performance machine. Most COPO Camaros from Berger Chevrolet came with the Turbo 400 automatic transmission, but some drivers preferred the 4-speed manual for a more hands-on driving experience. These rare COPO Camaros, especially the ones with both performance packages, are highly sought after today. Only about 58 of the rest COPO Camaros exist, making them a true gem for muscle car enthusiasts. Number 8, the 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge. Now this is one of the most iconic muscle cars from the 1960s. Designed to grab the attention of young drivers, the GTO Judge stood out with its bright orange color and bold split grille design. It wasn't just about looks though. The Judge packed a powerful Ram Air 3V8 engine under the hood, making it a force to be reckoned with on the road. Pontiac introduced the GTO Judge to compete with Chrysler's Plymouth Roadrunner, another popular muscle car at the time. It was available as either a hardtop coupe or a convertible, and came with cool features like rally wheels, a rear spoiler, and a Hurst shifter. One of its signature elements was a hood scoop that the driver could open or close for better performance. The marketing for the Judge was spot on. With the tagline, "The Judge can be brought," Pontiac created an ad campaign that really resonated with the youth. They even sold Judge racing jackets, which became a must-have for car enthusiasts back in the day. The GTO Judge wasn't just a powerful machine, it had a strong presence in car culture. The idea for the GTO Judge's name actually came from a comedy sketch on the TV show Laugh-In called Here Come the Judge. John DeLorean, the man behind the Judge, was also responsible for other hits like the 1967 Firebird and 1969 Grand Prix. He had a knack for blending style and performance, which made the GTO one of the first real muscle cars in America. In 1969, Pontiac made 6,833 GTO Judge coupes and 108 convertibles. Though production dropped in 1970 with a new body style, the 1969 model remains highly collectible today, cherished by muscle car fans everywhere. Number 7, the 1969 AMX3. It's true that this was a radical deviation from the AMC standard, providing the company's buyers with not only stylish, but rather cheap and relatively practical vehicles. AMX, for instance, which built average cars, needed something more provocative in the late 1960s. To meet this challenge, Richard "Dick" Teague, AMC's head of styling, and his team offered the AMX concept, unveiled in 1968 together with the Javelin. The ideas started gathering momentum in 1967 after Gerald C. Myers assumed the position of Vice President of Automotive Development at AMC and provided Teague with an open check to design something revolutionary. This led to the creation of its model AMX3, which was a middle-engine sports car aimed at rivaling Italian sophisticated models. They even partnered with some of the heavyweights within the automotive industry to make the project possible. After having worked for Ferrari and Lamborghini, the Italian engineer Giotto Bizzarini was involved in the conception of this model. The AMX3, BMW's engineers and testing facilities came to the rescue and made sure that the car complied with the best standard possible. Propelling the AMX3 was AMC's own 390 Ci V8 engine that produced 340 horsepower, and they used a 4-speed manual transmission. The AMX3 first appeared in Rome on March 23, 1970, 24 hours before Ford's De Tomaso Pantera. Despite all the excitement, AMC's management decided to cut the project after producing only 5 cars, with a 6th built by Bizzarini's team. Although the AMX3 had a very limited run, it made a lasting impression. One of the AMX3s was even tested on the Monza circuit in Italy, where it hit speeds over 160 miles per hour, proving it was a true performance machine. Though few were made, the AMX3 still stands as a remarkable car that combined American muscle with European finesse, making it one of the most important cars in automotive history. Number 6. The 1969 to 1971 Baldwin Motion Phase 3 GT Corvette. This is one of those cars that really defined the American muscle car era. Built by Baldwin Motion, a partnership between Baldwin Chevrolet and Motion Performance on Long Island, these cars weren't your everyday Corvettes. Baldwin Motion, along with names like Yenko and Shelby, were known for pushing cars way beyond what the big manufacturers were offering at the time. And Baldwin Motion took things to the extreme, even experimenting with a twin-turbocharged 454 engine. Joel Rosen, the mastermind behind Motion Performance, had a passion for turning big-block Corvettes, Camaros, and Chevelle into monsters on the road. His engine of choice was the powerful L88. And what made these cars stand out wasn't just their insane performance, but their bold, unique designs. Baldwin Motion cars came with a guarantee. They'd hit specific quarter-mile times, and they sported some of the wildest styling, complete with eye-catching stripes. In 1969, Rosen decided to strip down a few big-block Corvettes and transform them into the Corvette Phase 3 GT. This was no small upgrade. The tuning alone more than doubled the cost of a standard Corvette. Interestingly, the Phase 3 designation was the first of its kind, as neither Phase 1 nor Phase 2 were ever offered. Only 10 of these Phase 3 Corvettes were ever made, and each one was completely unique. Some of the custom features included fixed headlights, hood scoops, slanted rear windows, Dodge fuel fillers, and flared wheel wells. These weren't just fast, they looked like nothing else on the road. Number 5, the 1970 Chevy Chevelle LS6. This car was a beast in its time, known for dominating the streets with sheer power. By 1970, muscle cars were all about horsepower, and the Chevelle SS, especially with the LS6 package, was at the top of the food chain. Chevy offered 2 versions of the 454 engine, the 360 horsepower LS5 and the monstrous 450 horsepower LS6. The LS6, with 500 pounds per feet of torque, was a solid lifter engine that crushed competitors in terms of speed and power. Chevy had initially been slow to jump on the muscle car trend, but by 1970, they were all in, upgrading from their earlier big block models like the SS 396. GM lifted restrictions on engine sizes, and the Chevelle got the massive 454 cubic inch engine. The LS6 was paired with a Holley carburetor, a solid bottom end, and a high compression ratio, making it one of the most powerful engines of its time. However, new emission standards meant it came with an air injection system to reduce pollutants, though most owners removed this soon after buying the car. The LS6 could be equipped with a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic transmission. Buyers also got mandatory performance features like power disc brakes, a special suspension, and a power bulge hood. The SS package added almost $1,000 to the base price of the Chevelle, pushing the total cost over $3,800. Inside, the car could come with bench seats or optional bucket seats with a center console. The dashboard was borrowed from the Monte Carlo, featuring large circular gauges and a sleek design. Outside, it had bold stripes running along the hood and deck lid, along with a vacuum-operated hood for improved airflow to the engine. Number 4, the 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30. This beauty is considered a true muscle car classic, but it took a while to get there. Earlier models in 1968 and 1969 with the 400 cubic inch V8 engine struggled with performance, unable to rev past 5,700 RPM and lacking durability. However, by 1970, Oldsmobile had perfected the formula. The W30 package included high-performance parts like a specially calibrated 4-barrel carburetor, a hotter camshaft, and low-restriction exhaust. Buyers could choose between a 4-speed manual transmission with 3.42 gears or a turbo-hydromatic automatic with a Hurst shifter and 3.23 gears. The car came with front disc brakes, sway bars, and G70 tires, giving it better handling. One key element of the W30 was weight reduction. Oldsmobile swapped out heavier materials for lighter ones, like a fiberglass hood with functional air scoops, aluminum intake manifold, and even plastic fender liners. These changes shaved off weight, making the car faster and more agile. Inside, the W30 blended comfort and performance, offering a plush bucket seat interior while still delivering powerful acceleration. Thanks to factory blueprinting and better airflow, the engine delivered impressive power. The newly standard 455 cubic inch V8 was a big improvement, offering tons of torque, but remaining relatively compact and light for its size. In W30 form, the engine produced 370 horsepower, although it was likely underrated. Overall, the 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30 combined power, handling, and style, making it one of the best versions of the 442 ever produced. It was a smart approach to muscle cars, offering both brains and brawn for those who wanted more than just raw speed. Number 3, the 1978 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. The Trans Am is a classic American car that has a rich history, being part of the Firebird family produced from 1967 to 2002. Pontiac designed the Firebird to compete with the Ford Mustang, launching it just a few months after Chevrolet released the Camaro. The name Firebird had been used earlier by GM for a series of concept cars in the 1950s. For 1978, there were a few minor changes. The most noticeable was a new grille design, switching from a honeycomb pattern to a crosshatch style. The decals on the Trans Am also changed from a curvy looping style to a more straightforward block-style font. The popular T-tops switched from being installed by Hurst to being made in-house by GM. Pontiac also introduced the Redbird package for the Firebird Esprit, featuring a bright Roman red color and a unique Redbird graphic. A special gold Y88 appearance package became available in late 1977. It included an all-gold color scheme, exclusive gold-mirrored T-tops, and unique 5-color gold hood decals. All Y88s came in solar gold paint with camel tan interiors. Unfortunately, issues with the paint quality led to the Y88 package being discontinued in favor of the earlier black Y84 package. Under the hood, the W72 engine option received upgrades that boosted horsepower to 220, thanks to improvements in the camshaft and tuning. Pontiac also introduced the WS6 Special Performance Package, designed for better handling, with features like a larger rear sway bar, tighter steering, and upgraded suspension components. Initially, the W72 engine was included with the WS6 package, but mid-year they became separate options on the order list. However, due to manufacturing delays, rear disc brakes weren't available for the 1978 model. About 23% of Trans Am sold that year came with the WS6 option, showcasing the popularity of performance features among buyers. Number 2, the 1984 Chevy Corvette. This Corvette marked a significant evolution for America's favorite sports car. After facing delays in 1983 due to quality issues, a few test models were produced, and the wait only built anticipation for the new design. The 1984 model was launched in March, representing a major leap in automotive technology for GM. This Corvette was a departure from its predecessor, the C3, which had roots back to 1968. Weighing about 3,200 pounds, it featured advanced materials, moving away from all fiberglass construction. Its design was sleek and modern, with smooth lines and a less exaggerated shape that hinted at European elegance. The engine was a 5.7-liter L83 V8, producing 205 horsepower, which helped the car reach 60 miles per hour in just under 7 seconds. A solid performance compared to the heavier Camaro Z28 of the same year. Starting at $21,000, the 1984 Corvette was the most expensive Chevy yet. Its recognizable shape included the classic 4-round tail lights and pop-up headlights, and buyers could choose from 13 vibrant colors. The new design wasn't just for looks. It improved aerodynamics and offered a stealthier profile. Inside, the cabin was updated with advanced technology, featuring LED displays that monitored various functions. While it wasn't as luxurious as a Porsche or Ferrari, it was a step up from previous models, with leather seats and an optional 4-speaker Bose sound system, which was a big deal for car audio back then. However, the digital dashboard was a topic of debate among traditionalists and younger fans. The Corvette's manual transmission was innovative too, with a 4+3 system allowing automatic overdrive in higher gears. Plus, it boasted a fully independent suspension and custom Goodyear tires. The 1984 Corvette sold over 50,000 units, making it the best-selling sports car of the year. With these advancements, it marked a new era for the Corvette, setting the stage for future models to earn respect on the global stage. And last but not the least, number 1, the 1987 Buick GNX. This is one of those cars that made people take notice. Buick wasn't always known for building fast, exciting cars. In fact, it was often seen as making comfortable doctors' cars. But in the early 80s, they started shaking things up, especially when their Regal model began winning NASCAR championships. That success inspired the creation of the Grand National, or the GN, and by 1987, the GNX was born. A true high-performance legend. Buick had been experimenting with turbocharging since the 70s. Engineers like Ken Baker believed turbocharged V6 engines could be both powerful and fuel efficient. Their work eventually led to the turbo 3.8-liter V6 in the Grand National, which was officially rated at 245 horsepower in 1987. But the GNX, a souped-up version, pushed the limits even further, delivering 276 horsepower and an impressive 360 pounds-per-feet of torque. This power was enough to outperform some of the biggest names in the sports car world, including the Corvette and even certain Ferraris. The GNX wasn't just fast, it looked mean too. With its all-black exterior and bold styling, it gained a reputation for its Darth Vader vibe. Buick worked with ASC McLaren to build just 547 of these special edition cars. The GNX got improvements like a reworked suspension for better handling, larger wheels, and even functional fender vents to keep the engine cool. The GNX wasn't just a Buick, though. It became an American icon. Its blend of turbocharged power and aggressive styling marked the end of the old-school muscle car era while hinting at the future of high-performance, turbocharged engines. Today, it's a sought-after collector's item, with some selling for way more than their original price tag back in the day. What's your favorite iconic car from the muscle car era? If you had the chance to drive any car from the 80s, would the GNX be at the top of your list? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys soon.